What would you tell someone who just got diagnosed with diabetes today?
It's not the end of the world.
Okay.
I was diagnosed in August of 2011, and I was 8 weeks from competing in the Kona Ironman in October.
Tell me about race day and diabetes.
You know, I had a plan, and I was going to stick to it. So one of the things that I did that was super beneficial was I wrote down on little index cards blood sugar ranges, and I did it in color. I felt like I was in kindergarten again, and I made fun of it, but it worked. I wrote down different ranges in different colors. Green was where I wanted to be. Orange was kind of, you need to make some decisions, and red was kind of you're like, uh-oh. And I wrote all this out because I didn't know how to think about diabetes. Like, I only knew, like, if you're this, you know, if your blood sugar's this, then you don't treat. And so I'm thinking, you know, here I am, I'm going to be trying to race and think. And I was worried that I wouldn't get the thinking part down. So that was super helpful. I didn't really need them, like in hindsight, but I felt like Linus, like with my little blanket. So I held my little cards and I kept them in my shirt. I had them laminated so I could sweat on them. And it was nice. There was a couple times where I got a little high in the orange range, and I was able to be like, okay, this says, you know, I'm like 250, so I don't eat my gel for the next hour. I check again in 20 minutes, and I drink my drink. Because it's so important to keep taking in nutrition and to keep taking care of yourself, even though your blood sugar is not where you want it to be.
What is an Ironman?
It is a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bike, and a marathon, in case you needed something else to do at the end. So a 26-mile run. It's 140.6 miles in 17 hours or less.
And you finished it?
I did. I finished it in 15 hours and 50 minutes, upright, not in the medical tent. So those were my big goals. With a smile, actually. I have a picture. I did actually smile when I crossed the finish. I think I was so excited to take my shoes off at that point because my feet hurt so badly that, yeah, it didn't matter. I was just done. It was neat.
What would you say to someone who just got diagnosed with type 1? Or to yourself even when you first got it?
You know, it's not as scary as it sounds. For me, it was, you know, I guess the feeling I had, you know, I'm a pharmacist, so from my perspective, it was probably less scary than it is for someone who doesn't have a medical background. But for me, I felt like I had a sense of that it's permanent, and that I wasn't going to be able to eat the way I want to, or, you know, I was going to have to change my way of life, and it's really not how it is. You know, my life hasn't changed a whole lot. I do pay attention more to what I eat. That's just because I have to give myself insulin for that. But other than that, you can do anything you want. And honestly, it's probably been a blessing in disguise, because as far as my training and my life is concerned, I'm a lot more disciplined and a lot more, I guess, driven to succeed. So.
And athletically now, what are you up to?
You know, I got into kind of the triathlon game about 2 years ago. You know, so life has been busy, but you know, swimming and a little bit biking and running, trying to get into shape to do some triathlons this summer, and then especially next summer.
Okay. So what's your goal? What are you training for?
Well, I'm a Tribetes captain. We're training for the Boulder half Ironman.
Okay.
So I'm really excited to do that, but I would like to do, you know, probably half a dozen to a dozen sprints, Olympic, and maybe even a half Ironman before we do that one next August.
Very cool. How does diabetes affect all of this?
I guess for me, it's just more of like a pain in the butt to stop and, you know, check your blood sugar when you're swimming or when you're biking. Obviously, it's a gamble every time you go out and run. You know what your blood sugar is going to do, or when you swim, what it's going to do, or are you going to be high after you're done working out? Are you going to be low after you're working out? Are you going to crash all day long after you're working out? So it's a frustrating game to play, but it's something that you just got to do, and you have to figure out and keep trying.
And so how has diabetes affected your athletics or your life?
Well, I was diagnosed literally in the middle of the swimming season, and I was in the hospital for 2 days, and I was itching to get back out of the hospital, and drove right back down to school and went to practice. And so it was really, I guess, a learning game. I swam the next 3.5 years on the swim team with diabetes, and I mean, it changed a lot, just the physiology of everything, and preparing for practice and preparing for races, making sure my blood sugar was fine, or if it was too high, taking insulin, and kind of just figuring all that stuff out. Trying to keep a pump site on in the water.
Are you a weaker athlete with the disease?
I don't know, not at all. In some cases, you think more about the food you eat and how you need to prepare for the race. And I actually, when I was, the next couple years, I was, bigger, stronger, and faster having diabetes than I was before, which was, it was good. And, most of the time it probably kept me healthier, just nutrition-wise and, mentally, than maybe some of the other guys on the team.
Okay. If you met somebody who was 15 and just got diagnosed with diabetes, what would you tell them?
Just go for it. Just do it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything or that you're not supposed to do anything. You go out and do whatever you want. Just bring a Cliff Bar or something. Some glucose tablets.
Right
just
on.
in case.
If I could give you a magic wand and send you back in time,
Mm-hmm.
and you could erase your diabetes, would you choose to do so?
If you gave me a magic wand and I could erase my diabetes, and that magic wand also gave me the freedom to erase some other things, I would erase many other things before I would erase my diabetes. Now, if you gave me enough wishes with that wand, I would eventually get to my diabetes, because I would rather not have it. That's true. But nah, there's too many other things that people struggle with, that they don't work through at a high enough level, that it has truly hindered their lives. I have to say, it's, in some ways, this has enhanced my life. I go all over the world teaching and training and mentoring and getting taught and trained and mentored by 6-year-old kids with diabetes, by mums and dads, by my friends who've lived with type 1 diabetes for 80 plus years now, and they're still paddling canoes at 87 years old. I have benefited from this damn thing I wish I didn't have. I will never forget that. I'm remembering, as you asked me that question, what would I say to someone who was just diagnosed or just learned they had diabetes? You right away made me think of 49 years ago when I was a little boy, because I remember that day, remember some of that conversation with my doc, with my mother and father, as if it was yesterday in some ways. Now it's a beautiful memory. At the time, it was pretty crappy, to say, and that's putting it nicely. I'd say hang in the beginning, because you're pissed off appropriately, maybe. Wish the hell I didn't have it. Why'd I get it? Why me? All of those questions. Did I do anything wrong? You did nothing wrong. Hang in and learn as much as you can, and learn about your diabetes in terms of balancing it, and learn about your diabetes so it allows you to do the things in life you love to do. And whether that be academics, or you're an incredible member of the band, a mountain hiker, a skateboarder, it doesn't matter what you are, but life should continue to be incredibly robust. Diabetes will not change that, as long as you learn to respect the challenges that diabetes presents and learn enough about it so that you and your body kind of almost get on automatic pilot in terms of diabetes management.
If you had an elevator pitch to give to someone who is newly diagnosed, what would you tell them?
That's a very good question. I'd probably have too much to tell them, and what I would, I probably wouldn't tell them anything. I really would probably listen to what they know, and I'd ask them this question I learned from a really good pediatric endocrinologist. Do you know anybody that's had diabetes? And once they then begin to tell you, if they did, it will tell you the model that they come from. So if they're recently diagnosed with diabetes, I would say, do you know anybody else in your life that has diabetes? So if they tell me, well, they have their aunt had type 2, she didn't control it very well, she lost a couple of toes, you know in your mind that they're already focused on the complications. And so really, I would try to listen to elicit from them, what do they need to acquire at this stage? What's your understanding? I'd probably, my elevator pitch would be, what's your understanding of what it is so far?